Am I the jerk for telling my family it was wrong to eat my cake? I, an 18-year-old female, live with my 50-year-old father, 49-year-old mother, and 10-year-old brother. I spent hours making a cake for my 18-year-old boyfriend as a present. It was the best cake I have ever made, and I was extremely proud of it. When I made it, I told my family not to eat it and to ask me if they wanted some. I mentioned it multiple times, and they all agreed and promised they wouldn't. This was a very important cake to me, and since it was technically my boyfriend's, I didn't want them eating it without permission. When I gave my boyfriend the cake, he loved it, and it was a really nice moment. Fast forward to today, a day later, I was still telling them not to eat it. I had decided to go to my boyfriend's house and hang out there today. I trusted my family to leave the cake alone as they knew how much it meant to me, and they told me they would leave it alone. My boyfriend and I had a good day, but when I got home, I realized a whole chunk of the cake was gone. I got upset because the part they had eaten was the part with his name. That was the part I specifically saved for him. I went to my brother and father and asked them if they had eaten it. My brother told me that he had licked the frosting off of part of it. So basically, the cake part was just thrown away, or someone else ate it. I got upset and said that he should have asked me, but my father got defensive and said that it was my fault for keeping it here, and if it was my boyfriend's, I should have taken it to his house. I said that I was just mad because I had told them specifically to ask me, and they still didn't listen. He started yelling at me and calling me rude and selfish, saying I was being overdramatic. I told him I wasn't, and that I was allowed to be upset. Then my mother yelled at me and asked what was going on. When I told her, she said it was stupid and that I was being overdramatic. She said I was choosing my boyfriend over my family. I feel like they should have understood why I was upset and not have eaten it without asking in the first place. But I don't know. Am I the antagonist? Honestly, why didn't the boyfriend just take the cake to his house after it was given to him? It's pretty confusing that the best cake ever is just sitting in the parents' kitchen. How is he supposed to enjoy it if it's in a different house? Plus, the brother really should have better self-control at 10. Am I the jerk for snapping at my child's grandparent? Am I the asshole for snapping at my son's grandfather? So I, a 30-year-old male, and my partner, a 27-year-old female, have a beautiful 20-month-old son and another on the way. I have an issue with the behavior of her father and sister. I am the main provider for our family and have worked very hard to earn a decent salary to support us. We do a great job of raising our son. He is very happy and has the most wonderful personality. Due to my partner's father living very close by, he comes over most days to watch our son while I work in my office. I have found out that, behind my back, he and my partner's sister, who lives 80 miles away, have discussed in their own group chat, organized and paid for a toddler group 2 days a week at a place around the corner from our house. The issue with this is that I am immunocompromised due to treatment for a chronic condition, so I become extremely unwell when picking up the common cold, etc. I have explained numerous times that, at the moment, I do not want him in classes every single day as it is not necessary, and he is doing just fine developmentally. He still goes to other toddler classes every week for a couple of days. I have respectfully explained this situation many times to him. So yesterday, when he told me that they had enrolled and paid for 3 months of additional toddler classes elsewhere, I snapped. I said, "How many times do I have to say this? I am his father. Do you have an issue being able to respect the decisions I make for my son, or do you just not respect me?" He looked a bit taken aback. I immediately felt horrible. He is extremely sensitive, and I know he took it very personally. I know they are trying to help, but it feels like there is a committee making decisions about my son that I am not part of. Again, I know they are only trying to help, but this is not the first time they have made decisions about what they think is best. I have told my partner that our son is our son, and we, as his parents, make the decisions. I have tried politely setting boundaries numerous times, but it is not working. I just want them to understand that the decisions I make are for my son and the benefit of our family. I am tired of being the bad guy. Note: I have also had issues in the past with her father parading my son around in public and telling strangers it is his son. I think you are not in the wrong here. They are not trying to help, they're trying to take over as parents, especially the Phil. He has no concern for you or your health, and parading your son around claiming he's his is just ick. Gramps needs to step back and learn the difference between helping and interfering. Am I the jerk for giving my sibling a wedding cake made by one of my assistants instead of making one myself? My grandmother made wedding cakes for everyone I knew growing up. I learned how to do everything from her. I would make roses out of Play-Doh while she made them from fondant. My sister was never interested. I have turned my memories of my grandmother into a business. I make wedding cakes and charge a fair bit for them. As an example, my base price is $8 a slice. So if you have 100 guests, you will be buying an $800 cake, one of my base models. In return, you will get a delicious cake with pipe decorations. At $17.50 a slice, you get my top-notch work, hand-molded flowers, and the whole deal. Yes, I know it is expensive. Nobody is forced to buy one of my cakes. There are many very good bakers in my city. My sister is getting married. It is kind of a last-minute thing. She came with my mother to talk to me about making her wedding cake about 2 weeks ago. I said there was no way as I had other clients that were ahead of her. My mother got mean and said that I had to do this. After a while, I relented. I love my sister even though she is an impulsive pain in the ass. I said I could do it for about $1,000 for what she wanted. That is much less than I would charge anyone else. There is no profit in that at all. She wanted a very elaborate cake with a lot of decoration. I do not give gifts that expensive. I am not rich. I will have to eat the material costs and the wages for my helpers as is. I did not want to argue anymore, so I said that I would make her a basic cake, still very nice. I did not budge. I do not negotiate about losing money. I actually thought about outsourcing to a really great Filipino baker I know that could do it cheap. It would cost me $300 and I could concentrate on my clients. I ended up just letting one of my apprentices do the cake. It was for my sister, so I double-checked everything. I did the decorations on the top tier, the one the couple saves to have on their anniversary. The cake was a hit, and many pictures were taken. I told them not to mention that I did the cake. It was not really up to par. They did not listen. I had a client who knew my sister. She asked, and I was honest. My sister found out she got a cake made by my helper. It has caused a huge fight. I think it would have been better if they had just gone elsewhere. They are upset that I did not spend days sculpting the cake just for them. You are not the jerk. This is how you make your living, and you have employees and clients booked well in advance. They wanted you to screw over paying clients on short notice and whip up an elaborate cake for free. Nope. And you did make the top layer, which was a class act. Am I the jerk for kicking my mother-in-law out of my house? I, a 25-year-old man, and my wife, a 23-year-old woman, met and knew we were meant for each other. A year into our relationship, I proposed to her. The moment I married my wife, I knew I was in for a wild ride with her mother. She was a woman of strong opinions and an even stronger voice. Never shy to share her thoughts, especially when it came to me. The first time I met her, she eyed me up and down like I was a sheep at the market. So you're the one who's been courting my daughter? I hope you're not planning on living off her good graces. I barely managed a polite smile, already feeling the sweat trickle down my back. Every Sunday, we'd go over to her house for dinner, and every Sunday, it was the same routine. My mother-in-law would critique my clothes, my job, and even the way I buttered my bread. Are you sure you know how to do that? You're making a right mess of it, she'd say, as if I hadn't been buttering bread my whole life. One particular evening stands out in my memory. My wife and I had just announced that we were expecting our first child. I was over the moon, but my mother-in-law's reaction was less than enthusiastic. Well, I hope you're ready for sleepless nights and dirty nappies. It's not all fun and games, you know, she said with a stern look that could curdle milk. As the months went by, her comments became even more frequent. Do you really think you can handle being a father? You can barely keep the house in order, she'd exclaim, shaking her head. I tried my best to stay patient for my wife's sake, but it wasn't easy. When our little one finally arrived, I was determined to prove my mother-in-law wrong. I changed nappies. I rocked the baby to sleep. I even managed to cook a few meals without burning them. But no matter what I did, it never seemed to be enough. Are you sure you're holding the baby right? You don't want to drop her, she'd say, hovering over me like a hawk. She always wanted us to formula feed our daughter, but my wife wanted to breastfeed, and her mother seemed to have a problem with that but never said why. One day, I'd had enough. I walked into my daughter's room, and there was my mother-in-law giving her formula. I grabbed the bottle off her and asked her what she was doing. I was trying to keep my cool. Why are you giving our daughter formula? I said, really pissed off. My granddaughter needs to be on formula so I can take her to my house, she said confidently, which just pissed me off more. I said to my mother-in-law, I don't know who you think you are, but that is my daughter, and my wife decided she will be breastfed. If you don't agree with that, get out. I ripped my daughter out of her arms. My mother-in-law gave me a disgusted look as if I had called her every name under the sun. She just turned away and left. My wife told me I was too harsh. Am I the asshole for finally snapping at my mother-in-law after she kept trying to micromanage my baby? I think you are not in the wrong here. It sounds like you've put up with a lot and this was a long time coming. It's completely insane that she would feed the baby formula behind your back and then act as though what she was doing was perfectly normal. You and your wife need to discuss and set clear boundaries, then together tell your mother-in-law what the rules are. Am I the jerk for asking why my coworker insulted my sister? For context, my sister, Lisa, who is a 20-year-old female, and I, Walter, who is an 18-year-old male, both work front-of-house positions at a local Asian fusion restaurant where this conflict started. It happened over the course of 2 days and started when a coworker, whom we will call Steven, who is possibly a 23-year-old male, waited until the end of the day when there was no one else in the kitchen. He used that time to ask her if she was done letting the other servers do all the work and that she needs to step up her game or she would get fired. He compared her to a former coworker, Jack, who is a 21-year-old male who was let go for his lack of work ethic. The way Steven spoke to Lisa made her very hurt. She spent the last hour of her shift visibly upset and, at one point, even cried while she finished her side work. The following day, just before closing, I approached Steven before he left and asked him why he would say that to her. This erupted into yelling as he asked me what Lisa told me and said that she wasn't doing her job. He continued to yell as I walked away to help out a customer. Even after we both went our separate ways at the end of the shift, He continued to spam text, call, and FaceTime Lisa, Jack, and me, even though none of us have spoken with Jack in months. He ended up calling Lisa and me a total of 18 times and was spamming a group chat with many messages that did not make sense. I have copied one of many messages below. What's up, bowling crew? Gossip girls, nice setup. Good game. Strike. Don't forget to introduce with a handshake. It draws him in. Sweet whispers, best setup. Snake him in and trap him. NTS. Don't be yourself. People will take advantage of you and will never like you. Also think before you talk and never talk to anyone unless they talk to you. Don't be honest, give compliments, be kind or genuine, because they already perceive you negatively. Play the game. Learn that manipulation is the only way to win, right? I'm retarded and behind the game. Hey guys, don't forget to screenshot this and show and tell all your friends. Remember to just say, I don't know what are talking about. Yes, I'm nice and kind-hearted. JK, I just fake it right. These numbers aren't even you guys. Ha 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 ha. Hook, line, and sinker. I'm a waste of life, y'all won. Happy now. Do the ha 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 music to me, ear SSSSSS. My manager and my boss both saw the entire situation and had seen her crying the day before, which never happens. I explained to them exactly how it went down, and my boss did not seem happy with Steven. Would I be the asshole if he gets let go? Steven is very obviously a bully, and his behavior is unacceptable. If he's not a manager, he has no place evaluating anyone's performance. Given that your boss witnessed your sister's distress and seemed unhappy with Steven's behavior, it's likely that there will be consequences for him. Consider asking your boss to put you and your sister on the same shift for a while for safety in numbers. Am I the jerk for defending my sibling from our possibly unfair parent? So I, a 16-year-old female, have a younger brother, a 12-year-old male, who is constantly being picked on by our 44-year-old mother. She always calls him lazy and a problem child and assumes he's not doing things properly. Today, my younger brother went to school while I, my mother, and my other brother, a 3-year-old male, stayed home. My littlest brother, who I will call Ma, had the television all morning to keep him quiet. At about 10:00 a.m. she took him out, and at about 3:00 p.m. I got on the television to play Minecraft. At about the same time, my other brother, who I will call Lou, came home from school. He has a game he really loves to play that he can only play on our Xbox. After an hour of play, I handed the Xbox over to him so he could have a turn. Almost immediately, our mother came barging in, demanding that he turn his game off so Ma could have the television. I suggested that Ma watch his cartoons on my phone so Lou could have a turn on his game, making everyone happy. She shot me down, saying everyone was happy anyway, so why bother, ignoring Lou's protests that he wasn't. When she went outside to smoke, I went behind her back and put the cartoons on my phone. Ma was perfectly happy until he realized Lou was getting a turn on the Xbox, and then demanded his cartoons back on the television. My mother walked in on this and got angry because she had said it was Ma's turn on the Xbox. She physically turned off the television to stop Lou from playing. I got up and turned it back on. I told her plainly that I thought she was being unfair. She replied, "Life's not fair." She asked me why I thought Lou deserved a turn on the Xbox and who would keep Ma entertained. I replied that I would. We went on to turn the television on and off repeatedly as she ranted about how she was in control. It was her household. I did not get a say, and how disrespectful I was being. I ranted back about how unfair she was being to my brother. At one point, she even turned on him and said, "This is how I raised you. I distracted you with screens," with a malicious tone. Then she sent us both to our rooms. I stormed out of the house and my brother came with me. When I calmed down, I wondered if I was actually in the right. She keeps saying I do not understand yet because I am 16, and she feels judged by me. Is she right? Should she be afforded all the control? Am I just being 16? Or was I actually right to stick up for Lou? You are not the jerk, but unfortunately, you had a negative impact on this situation. All you achieved was making your mom angrier at your brother, to the point where she punished him by sending him to his room. This is a snapshot of your life, but if you feel he's being treated unfairly and bullied, you're probably right. Good for you for looking out for your brother and showing him someone has his back. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.